back and make it right. 'Cause it's too late, your time is up. Damage done and now it's done. Yeah. 'Cause it's too late, you roll the dice, and now you have to pay the price. Yeah. I'm in a better place now. I'm not gonna worry, no. I'm not giving sorry, you're gonna be the lonely one. I'm in a better place now. I'm not gonna worry, no. I'm not giving sorry, you're gonna be the lonely one. Say it again, say it again. You're saying you feel bad, so say it again. Only you can do that. My heart was open wide. I could feel it breaking deep inside. 'Cause it's too late, your time is up. Damage done and now we're stuck. 'Cause it's too late, you roll the dice, and now you have to pay the price. Oh, I'm in a better place now. I'm not gonna worry, no. I'm not giving sorry, you're gonna be the lonely one. I'm in a better place now. I'm not gonna worry, no. I'm not even sorry, you're gonna be the lonely one. I'm in a better place now. I'm not gonna worry, no. I'm not giving sorry, you're gonna be the lonely one. I'm in a better place now. I'm not gonna worry. I'm not giving sorry, you're gonna be the lonely one.
There's nothing that I can say or do, and it seems that words won't change a lot. How can I make it through to you when these silly little words are all that I've got? We can try to just pretend I could hold you once again, 'cause I'm scared of feeling lost tonight. When I wake up, it's you that I think of. It's true, it's so obvious, but I'm holding back because you don't want me like I want you. You don't feel me like I feel you. Oh no. And I must confess that you don't touch me like I touch you. Never blush, baby, when I kiss you, but you don't. And I must confess that I wish I'd find someone new and forget about you. 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 There's only so much that we can save, like a storyline and a few cliches. When we break up, it's true that I'm making up, it's through. I don't wanna pass the buck, but we're in this place because you don't want me like I want you. You don't.
Now listen here on the Unbought and Unbossed Show with Devontae Goins. He's here to skip past all the drama by reporting on news stories that are relevant to Black America without all the hyped up false context that drives ratings. Our news deserves special attention, and Devontae intends on giving it that attention right here on this show. Right now, this is the Unbought and Unbossed Show with Devontae Goins.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Tuesday, August 4th, 2020. And black news is back in the capital city of Ohio. Yes, this is the Unbought and Unbossed show. All right, so coming up today on the show, we have a lot to get to. Well, it seems like an everyday occurrence. I'm saying that we have a lot to get to, but today we really do have a lot to dwelge into. And so much, in fact, that I'm not even going to even get into any national stories because there's so much locally here going on. Like the first thing, COVID-19, because of COVID-19, it has postponed the National Night Out. And if you live here in the city, you know there's been a lot of violence. Just last night alone, there were 4 shootings. One shooting left a lady with over 100 bullets in her home. We're going to talk about that and my feelings towards it being canceled, National Night Out. And some of you might think I may be upset at that, but I'm really not. We're going to get into that. We're also going to dig deep within to the city of Columbus deciding to spend thousands of dollars on consulting and coaching for the police chief and for the mayor's office on everything that's going on in their offices. But first, I want to start with this whole National Night Out being canceled, if you will. Every year, all across the country, National Nights Out are held the first Tuesday in August. Every year. And for the last 15 to 20 years here in Columbus, Columbus police officers have teamed up with different neighborhoods to host these all over the city. I've gone to many of them all around the city growing up and even as an adult. I absolutely love them. But this year, the reason why I don't want to use the word perplexed because I'm not perplexed about it at all. But the reason why I find it kind of interesting in how I'm viewing and how I feel about National Night Out being canceled is different. And the reason why I say it's different, everyone, is because this year we are faced with the interesting introspect of having to face the reality of how police officers, I'm not talking about around the country, but how police officers here in Columbus, Ohio, are treating black and brown people. I think I need to repeat that again. This year, we are faced with a situation that we've been faced with before, but it's like in our face, present day, present time, that the night that the National Night Out events are typically taking place at this hour from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., that National Nights Out here in Columbus, Ohio have been canceled, but there has never been a time more so than now when we've been forced to look at and forced to reckon with how Columbus police officers are treating black and brown people. I've looked at countless of videos that were submitted to us here over the last couple of weeks, and today there were 3 submitted to us where police officers here in Columbus, Ohio, with the Columbus Police Department, decided to treat black folks. And as I was looking at those videos, I was enraged. And then as that emotion came upon me, the rage and the anger and the upsetness, what then I begin to focus on and what I begin to think about and to look at And what I then realized was the date and the day of the month it was, the first Tuesday in the month of August. And that being very key, and as I thought about that, and as I decided to channel that rage into something else, I decided to do some research and to do some digging, and I realized that nobody had been talking about National Nights Out, and usually in the week or last week or two of July, really the last 3 weeks of July, it is really a big push for National Nights Out in the neighborhood, saying, be at your local National Nights Out. You're hearing about it on the radio, you're hearing about it on TV, and this year I heard nothing. But then today I go out there looking, I go out there doing research, and then I see ABC6 News doing a story focusing on how COVID-19 canceled, or did not just cancel, but postponed National Night Out until the fall, because you really shouldn't be gathering in groups. But not just that. I saw a lady on there talking about that we need National Nights Out more than ever right now because of the string of violence going on in our city. And then my mind went to work as I was listening to that lady on the West Side talk about how for the last 15 years she's hosted in front of her house on her block the city's largest National Night Out party. And so as I began to think about that, and as my mind was working and I'm trying to figure all of this out and figure out where my thoughts are, I began to think and I said, Devontae, this may be a blessing in disguise. While this lady is on TV upset that the event is canceled, she's only upset because she hosts the biggest every year, so they tell us. And I know these National Nights Out are supposed to be bridging the divide and bringing the community together with police officers and community members all across the city, really all across the nation. But really, are they? Now, I've said this before, and I will continue to repeat this. I'm not against police officers at all. And when protesters are down there saying, fuck 12 and all that, I'm not against them or anything like that. But what I am against is how they decide to treat black and brown brothers and sisters. And how they not only decide to treat, how they become and feel like they're God in a sense, and how they can give a person life and how they could take it away, and they don't have that right. That's what I am against. And so with these National Nights Out being postponed until possibly later this year in the fall, I'm over here ecstatic. I'm happy about it. You may be blaming it on COVID, but I am happy because now, with them being postponed, what should have happened, viewers and listeners, what should have happened, family, was everything should have moved on to a digital platform, onto Zoom or something, and we should have begun to have a conversation with police officers and with the CPD about why do certain officers think it's all right to treat black and brown people the way that they treat them. That's what should have happened. That didn't happen. They decided to postpone it because they think with these type of events, you have to have a big party. But no, I thought the ideal of the event was to bring the Columbus Police Department and the Columbus police officers here in Ohio closer together with the community. But yet the mayor and the police chief, they want to get on TV every time shootings and violence spark off, just in the case of what happened last night, asking for the community's help. Now, some of you might say, well, they're doing the best that they can. They're doing everything within their power. Not just only are they doing everything within their power, but they can only do so much. What more do you want from them? The mayor has pushed through City Hall and through City Council a working group, and they have even got it voted on and approved to be on the ballot in November. The issue of Columbus having a civilian review board over the Columbus Police Department. They're negotiating right now the FOP's contract and X, Y, and Z and da 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 da. What more do you expect them to do? Well, you know what? I expect them to do a lot more than what they are doing. But some of you may say, Devontae, you're being too hard. You aren't thinking rational about it. What would you do if you were in the position of Andy Ginther? Well, number one, what I would. It's not what I would do if I was in Andy Ginther's position. More so, the question is, how would I respond? And I'm telling you how I would have responded given these certain circumstances. Is I would have tried to move all of the neighborhood national nights out onto a digital platform so we can have the conversation and get beyond this. Yes, there's a lot of shootings happening. Can we depend on the police to end them? No. Can we just depend on the community? No, but we do need the two to come together. We do need the police and the community to work together, but how can the community trust in a police department that's killing them? Not just killing them, but bringing so much injustice against them. You know what? Every time I'm pulled over by the police, my heart starts pounding so much and so hard so that it feels like I'm not only having a heart attack, but that my heart is on the outside of my body. Now, it doesn't feel that way because I'm scared in the sense of being scared. No, my body feels that way, and my heart is pumping at that rate of speed that it's pumping at because I, as a black person, I'm afraid that I might get shot and killed because of how the officers are approaching the car when they approach the car. They're approaching the scene when they pull me over with their hand on their hip, on their waist belt, on their gun. Now, sure, I've done dozens of ride-alongs while in college with the police and while here in the city, and sure, there is a level of unknown about what you are entering into when you're walking up to a car, but you need to understand how you're pulling over a black person, how a black person is going to perceive you being pulled over. But we already know all of that, so why am I hashing this out? I don't know why I'm having to hash this out, but I could tell you that bullets, yes, bullets, these things that have no eyes, they have no ears, they can't see where they're going. They don't know where they're going. Ended up and left several people wounded last night because there were a lot of shootings last night. And the youngest person was 13 years old. Another case, over 100 bullets were left in a lady's house. Thank God that the lady wasn't injured. She was in the home when somebody put over 100 bullets in her house last night. $100 bullets in your home, where you're supposed to feel safe at. But now you're saying, but now what I can't put together and what I'm having a hard time grappling with is the notion and the understanding of that some people think that we still should have had National Night Out. Now, I'm not blaming the police for this rash of violence. I'm not blaming black folks either, even though it is our people shooting up our people. Now, and I know that's not the popular thing to say, but blacks are shooting up blacks right now. I know some of you will probably argue and will probably say, hey, Devontae, white people are doing it too. Yeah, that's true, but right now, I'm talking to my black folks right now. I'm talking to Black Columbus. So I'm going to keep it 100 with you, Black Columbus. White people aren't shooting up our neighborhoods. Black folks are. Now, if I'm really being even more transparent, in North Columbus last night, police officers, they took a couple rounds while securing a scene of a shooting that happened. They took some rounds themselves, but they didn't fire back. So do I have to give them their props for not firing back? Yes, I do, because in all regard, I don't know what the situation was like, but they should have fired back to not only protect themselves, but everybody else around. I don't know what made them not fire back, but they needed to respond to something. Now, I am just keeping it 100 with you all. But for the people out there that thinks National Night Out should have still happened, and it shouldn't have been postponed, I think you're wrong. You're wrong. To me, it should be canceled until we learn as a community to deal with the bigger issues. I took a phone call earlier today, and not even this conversation I've actually been having with a lot of people that I come into encounter with. I had this conversation yesterday that, yes, it's good that we are down there protesting. Every day there's protesters down there, whether it's a big group or a small group in downtown Columbus. But the question now becomes what Dr. King wrote about in this book right here. Where do we go from here? If you don't know what this book is, where do we go from here? Chaos or Community? This is Dr. King's worst-selling book that he wrote right before he was killed, before he was murdered in 1967. But while this was his worst-selling book, this was his best piece of work. And in this book, Dr. King talks about, and where do we go from here, Chaos or Community, about 4 organizations that Black America or the Black community cannot live without. And one of those 4 organizations that he says we cannot live without is Black media. And not just Black media, Black-owned media. The second thing is Black churches. Third thing, Black businesses. And the fourth thing, Black Greek life. So Black frats and sororities, the Divine Nine. And I come to tell you, if we get all 4 of those here in Columbus together, working together, locking arms, we could do a lot more. But right now, the problem with in Columbus is that we got all this inner fighting going on among different organizations. There's fighting going on with Black churches about this denomination is better than that denomination. This denomination is more holier than that denomination. When last time I read my Bible, the Bible didn't talk about denominations. Oh, Devontae, you aren't supposed to be talking about the church. You aren't supposed to be speaking truth to the church. But that's what this is. I'm always going to keep it 100 with you. And then there's inner working fighting going on even among all of these different black organizations. And then furthermore, with black businesses, I can't be too upset at black business owners because the moment Brother George Floyd got lynched, because it was a lynching, no mistake about it. The moment that officer in Minneapolis decided to lynch Brother Floyd, the moment that that officer decided to put that many bullets into Sister Breonna Taylor, America saw this awakening in great support for black businesses. But there are black business owners that, because they saw so great of surgence of business than they ever have before, they didn't know what to do because they weren't trained for it. And I think that's the problem with black America, but black Columbus more specifically. I'm going to talk to black Columbus because after all, this is a local owned black independent media company, black independent news network. So I'm talking to all of my black business owners right now in Columbus. You didn't do wrong. 90% of you didn't do wrong. You weren't trying to take folks' money and then run. You didn't know what you didn't know. And you had so much volume increase in business that you didn't have time to put the appropriate measures in place. And because of COVID, you didn't have time to do the right hiring and things like that. You didn't know what you didn't know. So I can't be too upset with you all for that. And you know what? I if I'm being totally transparent, I had to work and sit down and really think about that and talk it out with a few people about that particular subject. And even just yesterday, I was having that conversation with someone in my office, and they were saying, Devontae, you may be thinking a little too harsh. And I said, all right, let's talk about it. And we talked about it, and my thinking was changed even more, is that in Black America and Black Columbus, we just don't have the appropriate resources to teach us what we need to do when we start a business, to teach us that, oh, you should probably register with the Secretary of State to get an LLC. And after you register your business with the Secretary of State as an LLC or an S Corp or a C Corp, you should go to the IRS and get an EIN number so you aren't using your social number. Then you should go to the appropriate bank and set up business bank accounts, and if you have employees, you should set up a payroll account and things like that. You see, I can't. You just don't know what you don't know, and our people, a lot of them, they don't know the process, and so when you don't have particular measures in process, you just don't know. Now, another thing that Dr. King talked about in this book, so where do we go from here, Chaos or Community? We've talked about the black churches, we've talked about black businesses, but now we need the Black Divine Nine to step up and to say, hey, we're going to lock arms with you, and we are going to do some voter registration drives. Sure, it may not be the popular thing to do right now because of COVID, but we're going to mask up, we're going to put on gloves and whatever we need to do to protect our personal selves, and we're going to go out there and we are going to go to work. We're going to go to work, and we're going to knock on some doors, and we're going to make sure folks are registered to vote. And as we are making sure they're registered to vote, what we're going to do next, what we're going to do after that is we're going to make sure they are getting their mail-in ballots if they're going to go with the mail-in ballot measures and they are voting in an appropriate time frame so their ballot gets into the post office. And then not only does it get into the post office, but to make sure that it gets to the Board of Elections. But if they don't trust that, we're going to make sure they seal their ballot tightly, and however many envelopes they need to, and we are going to make it possible to come back by their house, and we'll drop it off up on Morse Road ourselves and place it in that box to make sure their vote is counted. Brothers and sisters, this is not the election to sit home and cry and pout and complain. I don't care if you don't vote for whoever the next president of the United States is, whoever the next senator or congressman or person is. I don't care if you don't vote for any national issues. As important as those are to me, I don't care. I only care about if you vote for one issue. And that is for this Police Civilian Review Board. And I don't know how many of you know this, but we are now 89 days, if we include today, away from the election day in November. 89. 89 days. I want you to think about that. And we're back right after this.
Welcome to Cardwell Mobile Notary Service. I'm Leandra Cardwell. I run a full-service mobile notary company. We specialize in apostille, loan closings, structured settlements, and more. Wherever you are, I'll be there. Even in your home, I'll be there. At the hospital, I'll be there. Nursing homes, I'll be there. At the library, I'll be there. Coffee shops, you pick, and I'll be there. And yes, even remotely too, I'll be there. To submit a request on our website, don't forget to locate us on Facebook and give us a call at 614-999-0149, and I'll be there.
If you're tired of mainstream media outlets selecting news stories and events that don't appeal to Black America, then become a member of the Unbossed Network today, where we are the voice of Black America and providing coverage of events and news stories that you won't hear anywhere else. Visit theunbossednetwork.com to become a member today.
All right, so back here at live. And calm down a little bit, but I don't know for how long, because if you thought I was riled up on that while covering that last story, this one really got my blood boiling when I was reading it and reading through the records and things like that. And let's just say I was pissed. So. The Columbus, I'm sorry, not the Columbus Police Department, but the city of Columbus. So those folk down at City Hall thought it was wise, and not thought meaning past tense. They think it is wise, speaking in the present tense, to spend thousands of our tax dollars, thousands of your tax dollars and my tax dollars on consulting and coaching for Police Chief Thomas Quinlan and representatives in the mayor's office, and for Andy Ginther, the mayor himself. Now, I guess I shouldn't be too pissed off. Some folk would say that to lead the Civilian Review Board group meetings that they are going to be having over from now until November. They have 49 more meetings that they are going to be having. They had their very first that we streamed live here on the network at 4 p.m. today. They're going to have 49 more in the next 89 days. But I guess I should be happy that the consulting agency that they hired is a Black-owned consulting agency Rama, or Rama, RAMA Consulting. They were hired for $19,800 to prepare and lead the meetings. I can't make this stuff up. I'm looking at the contract in the bid right here. I'm looking at it, and the contract goes from August 1st to February 28th next year. An almost $20,000 contract. I'm even looking at the proposal, and it looks like they won't be doing much at all. Nothing that folk couldn't do. They are going to meet 1 hour every 2 weeks prior to each meeting with the mayor's staff to discuss meeting expectations, goals, and objectives. They're going to draft meeting agendas, and they're going to facilitate the meetings. They're going to prepare all the materials. So basically, they're going to be the secretary for the meeting. $19,000. Just for that. But like I said, I guess I shouldn't be too upset. And I think it's worth noting that this same organization, the Rama Consulting Group, who the president and CEO of that consulting firm is Matron Mo Wright, who has a BA of political science from Winston State University, has a master's in public administration and workforce development from Ohio State. I guess I should be happy and all right that a black-owned company got this contract, but I'm not. I don't see why you needed to spend damn near $20,000 for some people to put meeting minutes together. Y'all could have done that on your own. That 20 grand could have went to fixing these potholes in our streets. That 20 grand could have went to making sure the homeless people in the city are able to eat. They have shelter. That I could think of a numerous of things that $20,000 could have went to. Now, let me push onward, because that same group, they were hired by the city to facilitate the meetings of Chief Thomas Quinlan's advisory panel. So this same group, they're getting paid another $19,200 to do the same thing. So let's do the math here. So that's $19,800 plus $19,200. That is $39,000 in two contracts. They're getting paid of our tax dollars to basically put meeting minutes together. $39,000. Can I get a gig like that? I got somebody down the street. I got an auntie, I got an uncle who can put meeting minutes together. Are you willing to pay them 39 grand to do that for the next couple months? They're proficient. They have master's degrees. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to be speaking like that. I'm sorry. 39 grand though. Divvied into two contracts. Now, check this out. A company by the name of the Saunders Company was just hired for $47,500 to help the police chief and to help the mayor with crisis communication and strategic planning. And from reading this proposal, they are also going to be coaching Chief Thomas Quinlan on media interviews and how to be a better public speaker. That's going to be done by Performance Consulting, and that's for a contract up to $10,000 if they don't use it all, to make sure the police chief doesn't say the wrong thing on TV. To make sure the police chief, Thomas Quinlan, doesn't accidentally tell the truth about what his officers are doing. They're paying $10,000. So, the city, that's $49,000 plus $49,500. That's almost $100,000. That's, to be exact, $98,500 of our tax dollars that the city is using to pay for consulting and media coaching. $98,500. Now's the time you should ask yourself, shouldn't you have paid attention in public speaking class, Chief Thomas Quinlan? Is it now in that time? But $98,500 divvied up into 5 different contracts. 2 of the contracts, over half the money, going to a black-owned consulting company. I guess one would argue should be happy about that, but I'm not. It's still a waste of our tax dollars. Still a fundamental waste. And you know what? When I see stuff like that, this is what I say to it.
Hell no, to the no, no, no. Hell to the no, hell to the no, to the no, no, no. Hell no, no.
I say hell to the no. Hell to the no. I will not stand for it. I won't be satisfied. I'm not happy that they are doing this. Quite frankly, I am pissed off, and change needs to be brought to City Hall. Change needs to be brought to it. And you know what? I almost forgot until it was brought up today in the working group, in the working group for the Police Civilian Review Board, when one of the people on that board, during her introduction, she was saying that she was honored to be chosen to work on this initial review board to form what it's going to be like. She reminded me that, and like I said, I almost forgot that Mayor Andrew Ginther was a Columbus City School Board member. For a brief period of time, he was a good guy. I forgot about that. Forgot about it. Well, what can you say? That we need to bring change to City Hall, and the only way that's going to come, and the only way that's going to happen, is if, in the words of Jennifer Lewis, we get our asses out there and vote. And next year is an election year here in the city of Columbus to vote for city council members. It's that simple. We're back right after this.
If you're tired of mainstream media outlets selecting news stories and events that don't appeal to Black America, then become a member of the Unbossed Network today, where we are the voice of Black America and providing coverage of events and news stories that you won't hear anywhere else. Visit theunbossednetwork.com to become a member today.
So, that's going to do it for me today, everybody. That's going to do it. So, to give you a few updates on what's been going on, we are adding a bunch of new shows to the network and the platform. So, I'm trying to we are working through what time they're going to be coming and airing live. Like, we have 3 phenomenal shows about to launch within the next 2 weeks that I am just jacked out of my mind, and more in the pipeline coming. So my show, which was starting at 6 p.m., the Unbought and Unbossed show, which you're watching right now, is going to be moving to the 7:30 weekday time slot. And we're going to try it out this week, and if that doesn't work, we'll bump it up to the 8 o'clock time slot. But we're playing around with some different times, but every day you're going to get a daily show, the same content, the same news, the same everything. We're just trying to play with the time and work and fit everybody in as we are growing and as we are moving forward. Working on a big story right now that I talked a little bit about yesterday, and it's and I'm hoping to partner up with some other independent media outlets out there in the city. I've had a couple phone calls today. I'll have a couple more tomorrow with a few outlets about working with them about on the story of the police department here in Columbus issuing false warrants against protesters on days when they weren't even protesting. So that's happening, and it is a real thing. The last batch of warrants, to my knowledge, that were false, they dropped on last Friday. So that is happening, but I gotta go. I gotta get out of here. I've got to get me something to eat. It's been a long day. I didn't take a lunch break. I've been working my tail off to make all of this happen for you. As always, Black Columbus, know I love you, but remember more than ever to keep it real, because your conscience depends on it. Peace. I'm out.
Thank you for watching the Unbought and Unbossed show. If you haven't already subscribed to our channel, what's holding you back from smashing the subscribe button? Don't forget to hit the bell to get notified every time we post a new episode. Devontae will be back here every single weekday, breaking down the most important news stories to Black America. We'd love for you to share this episode with your friends and family. And remember, Black America, to keep it real, because your conscience depends on it.